Hello, everyone, and welcome to another SO Zion Panther Presents. Today, we shall be saying goodbye to Special Ops Lioness on Paramount Plus, as we shall be discussing episodes 3 to 8. We decided that the best way to take this series is wait till it's over and kind of see the story after it's unfolded. I thought, considering based on what happened on 1 and 2, did it get better? Where did it go? We're gonna start on the positives about this. Does anyone have anything positive?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Kim. Let's start with your positive.
I would say that Joe's relationship with her husband, it's complicated, but it's hold on 1 second. I apologize. I'm sorry. As soon as I start talking. Okay. So anyway, Joe's relationship with her husband is complicated, but at the same time they work as a team to try to raise these girls, right? So I wasn't a fan of the daughter, but she is a teenager, right? Teenagers are outrageous. Not all teenagers, but I'm not going to say that I haven't seen a teenager like the young lady in this show. I've seen them. Okay. And so I think that relationship is a positive relationship, even though it's very difficult on both sides, right? Um, I could say that I enjoyed seeing Morgan Freeman. I love to see him no matter what.
Let's get to the family. Let's get to the family situation. Let's do that one. Let's do that one. So that's Joe, Neil, Charlie, and Kate. Kate and Charlie are the daughters. So let's talk about that. I did like the family storyline because that was like a whole separate thing. If you look at it, it could have been its own show.
Yeah. So when Kate was doing what typical teenagers do when she got into the car accident, right? Your parents tell you don't get in a car with another teenager because teenagers are not responsible. But what do? You sneak and get in the car anyway, right? Because that's what a teenager would do. Now, her and her dad's agreement with the boy being over and don't do anything
below the
belt.
Yeah,
the waist. Right. Okay, so he's been a teenager. Okay, excuse me. So him telling her that, I was like, dude, you're a guy. So you know that the guy is gonna go below. He's gonna talk her into going below. So that wasn't a deal. For me, if you realize that your child is going to have sex at 14, you need to put her on the pill. Put her on the pill or whatever they do nowadays, right? I don't know the different birth control things. I think they put something in your damn arm now. I don't care what it is. If you realize that your child is going to have sex, whether you tell them to or not, you need to have them get them protected. Also, buy her some condoms. There's nothing wrong with a girl having condoms because she's protecting the guy as well as herself. So if you know this in your head, then do what you're supposed to do. You can't stop it. We all know you can't stop teenagers from having sex. You're not going to be there all the time, right? So I thought that was a ridiculous deal to have with the daughter. But I do like the way they handled it because what else were they going to do? Yelling and screaming at her was not going to help the situation. And I like the way that Joe, she comes in with a soft voice. Not yelling and screaming, because sometimes we as parents we take it to that level of screaming and all of that, and it doesn't help anything. You're just yelling out of frustration, but it doesn't help. So I like the way that he staged that whole intervention with the daughter and explaining to her what happened to her friends that passed away, why she was wrong for getting in the car. All of that was very well staged. I love that. So that's my positive for that. And the little girl that I think her name is Charlie, the other daughter. Charlie. Yes, I like the way that they explained to her, basically, like we're crying because we're happy, but at the same, they're sad at the same time, right? So everyone is just happy to be home, and we're happy that your sister's okay. That kind of, it's not a bad cry. It's a good cry, right? Because she doesn't know what's going on. She has no clue what happened to her sister, except for the fact that she was in a car accident, right? So I like that part of it. Um, and like I said, I like the way that the parents bounce off of each other. They discuss everything that's difficult as much as they can. Seeing as her job is extremely difficult, and so was her husband's. As a matter of fact, her husband's job is difficult, but the way that they bring it together and the calm manner that they bring it together is was very well staged. It's different because most of the time parents will be yelling and screaming at each other, right?
See,
So I liked it. I thought that was staged very well.
all right, Kim. All right, see, we can find some positives. All right, so Giovanni, what do you think about Joe's home situation, and the children and whatnot?
And positives.
Yes, John. Oh, okay. If you don't have any positive, either way, what do you think about the family home situation?
I thought that it was like I'd never seen anything, I guess you'd say, in a show like like this before. It was like you see Joe come in, was it like episode 3, and she doesn't know about the quote unquote arrangement.
Mm.
Um, and for her to have been left out of the loop, yeah, and it was like, there was no way to so to say, uh, walk it back or whatever. He's like, yeah, this is what we've agreed while you weren't here. And she kind of has to just take that. So, and then, the repercussions are what the repercussions, were. At least I was happy. At least it wasn't just a storyline, just for the sake of a storyline. It actually led up to something. So, a lot of these shows, they have things happening with the family, and then nothing really comes of it. Now, whatever conflict was happening, it actually led to the car accident, the pregnancy, everything led into something happening, and making there actually be strain on her while she's at work to want to be home, as opposed to, I just want to be home because my kid might have uh, an awards dinner or a sporting event or something, like that. This is like more different and much more serious, so to say. Um, I don't know. I like the conversation that she had with her when she actually got home, with the whole, yeah, how's my father gonna bathe me and do all of this type of stuff? Oh, well, we got you a nurse for that. Oh, well, then the problem is solved.
And where was said nurse? like that nurse,
well, we saw the nurse. She was because when she had the night terror, she came out of the other room, and he's like, yeah, go back in there, and then he went straight to the daughter.
Okay. I didn't notice that. I didn't. Okay, I didn't know that was the actual nurse. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Because so that really did not get fleshed out as a character. Like I thought that was going to mean something. I thought, but anyway, go.
Yeah, I think that like what Kim was saying about like her coming in with a soft turn, she has so much practice in dealing with these assets that she's able to use that as like a transferable skill.
Yeah.
Like even when she was oh my god, I can't remember the when she was in the hotel room with
Cruz.
Lioness. Yeah, Cruz.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, I don't care how big this room is. You're gonna talk in a whisper. Like, so is like, so she knows, so to say, to keep calm, stay calm, talk calm or whatever, no matter how upset she might be.
Yep, that's true.
And that's true. And anything else?
Yeah, that's it.
So I do agree, and I think the family situation again could have been the series, and maybe even a better one if they would have been like, what is it like co-parents, two parents working out, one's a surgeon dealing with death every day, and one's the CIA case officer. Like you never seen a show like that, really, and especially the woman to be the case officer, coming back from missions. was it like to be almost a single father, even though you're not, you know, like, and you got a parent, like that sort of thing. I thought it was that would have been a better show, because when I thought they were gonna get kidnapped or something, like True Lies. If you saw True Lies, right, like the family is relevant because eventually said terrorist group finds out about family and takes them or something, and now they're actually part of the mission. And then I'm like, oh, now they're relevant to that storyline, when really now they're just a story. Like, you know, like you can come back and check on them, and but like they don't really mean anything to the bigger story. But I thought the family dynamic was cool. They never really got into the whole we were seeing other people, but now we're not, because we never even saw either one of them see anyone else. Like that could have been part of the thing. And like the nurse could have been, my wife is gone, you know, that happens. You know, the caregiver and husband fall in love because wife is whatever. Like that could have been something. So
yeah, but I think that would have been a longer focus on the family, though.
But again, like if that's what I'm saying. The show, they could have did a show about the family. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like, and then they could have fleshed that kind of stuff out.
Yeah.
I thought it was also ironic that Kate is all like, I'm pro-black, Black Lives Matter. I got afros and I got my fist, and there's a white boy on top of her. I just thought that was hilarious. Like, firstly, I was like, I would have preferred to see a black man to be consistent.
No. I agree. I disagree with that. You can be pro-black and have a white person as your lover or husband. So you mean to tell me because you went and dated or had children with a white person, that degrades your blackness?
No, I'm saying for someone who says her father doesn't understand her struggle as a black woman in this world or some shit, and like he's the only parent there with you. You know what I'm saying? Like you would think that she would try to stick out like a black partner. I just thought it was ironic. I mean, I'm saying for me,
it might be ironic, but I think it's a proximity issue. I think they live in the suburbs, so it's like it's just a matter of how the access to how many black people does she have. You know,
so again, stereotype that black folks don't live in the suburbs. I mean, and that's, I mean, but again, if this show was about the school, we could have saw the population. But let's say she took the bus to the hood and found herself a black man. I'm saying, like, I mean, I don't know. I just thought her boyfriend would have been black just for me. And then we don't get into that. She lost a baby. Someone made that baby. Like, we don't get into who was the father
because
or whatever.
It would have been too much. You can't fit everything in.
So the father probably was dead. Was he not one of the other two people that was in the car crash or something like that?
No, no, those only girls. I thought
it was girls. It was high school kids. It was high school girls. Weren't they cheerleaders or something?
And then when was she a cheerleader? Like she did soccer or some shit. It was anyway. I'm just saying, like, again, if they would have flushed out the family thing, like that's what I'm saying. I mean, true for what the purpose of the show was, like that was kind of unnecessary. But if this was a family show, they had the drama points. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. And to me, it was 3 stories, David.
It was
like, that story, right? Family. Then Nicole Kidman, for some reason.
I don't.
And then they had this. Well, actually, it was maybe more than that, right?
I wouldn't even count Nicole Kidman as.
Yeah, I wouldn't count that.
Yeah, I would say Kyle's mission is really
Kyle's mission, which was a good mission. Relevant,
but I mean, so much more relevant than what we saw. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. I thought and then there's always a Yaz. There's always a fucking Yaz.
That's Charlie.
Yeah. And Charlie is Yaz. Yeah. Because that little girl looks about 8, 9, 10. Like she's a big. That's not a toddler. You know what I'm saying? And they gave her the baby. They gave her the Yaz voice. They gave her the whole. Why are you crying? I don't understand. Get the fuck out of here. You are older than that. You are older to know what's going on. Like, and then it's all about Kate though. All about Kate.
I look at it as they really treated her like a Yaz, because they were like, we haven't even told her she's been in a car accident. She's at the grandparents, and when you get here tomorrow, we will tell her. I was like, God
damn, Yaz.
No, but I understand that because she's younger, and she's younger than her sister. You don't know what type of temperament the child has. Like some children are more sensitive than other children. My youngest son is more sensitive about certain things than my older son. So you have to know how to handle talking to that child about what happened to their sibling. So it's all about the temperament of the child and what you think the child can handle. So that's why they did it that way.
I,
Not
I
to
would.
treat her like a baby, just because they know they would have told her over the phone, she would have been crying and screaming, hollering, and we don't know if grandma can handle that, right? We need to get her home with us where we can handle any kind of, breakdown the little girl has, right?
We don't know anything about Charlie except she speaks Russian,
Exactly.
and she apparently has no.
And she's very cute. She's adorable.
I mean, she's adorable, but she's much older than the way they portrayed her. That's all
Well,
I'm
yeah,
saying. Like,
they always do that though.
I was like, "Why? Stop it with this shit." But anyway, I love the little girl, and again, the dad was cool. Like Neil, to see him like in his surgery stuff and how he deals with children.
Yeah.
Like that could have been a great show and a great family show. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And they could have flushed that out. But anyway,
I think there's some backstory, like, because I'm like when he saw Nicole Kidman's character, it was like, oh well, we know each other, reunion or whatever. Like, I'm like there's some overlap where he knows her work, the people that Joe works with. So I'm like, I would have liked to see more of how much does he know, so to say.
Yeah,
fleshed out.
Yeah. How much is he involved? Maybe obviously not, you don't go on missions, but they have history. They clearly have history between the two of them. And what is that history? I would like to get to. So, Jamani, what storyline would you like to get into that you felt was good, engaging?
I guess the mission, because that's other than the Kyle's mission, I guess that's basically it. I'm like the mission itself was very slow going, and I would say that it actually did pay off in the end, because it was like, why is all of this weird stuff happening, or are they showing us all of this stuff? And then it we find out that there's a reason, because it's sort of say she's not necessarily befriending her. She's like auditioning her for I guess like the sowing of oats before marriage.
Okay, so all right, so you're talking about Aaliyah's relationship with Cruz and Cruz's mission to kill Aaliyah's father.
Yeah.
All right. So you like that arc about how I got kind of came together?
Yeah, I didn't know originally where it was going, and then like when you see, I can't remember what episode it is, but when she's driving to her and she's like, "Oh yeah, our plan's gonna be ruined because of the weather," and she's like, "Oh well, the weather doesn't matter, that doesn't ruin our plans at all, and all of the things that ensue after that, because that's basically the lead in, huh?
You talking about what? I don't know. I'm very confused right now. You need to. I don't know what you're talking about.
When Cruz is driving, right?
Yes.
She's on the phone with Aaliyah, and she's saying, "Yeah, the weather is bad. It's gonna ruin whatever plans we have for this weekend." And she's like, "No, it won't, because we will stay in and do stuff or whatever. We'll watch movies and get to know each other."
Got it. Okay, thank you.
And that leads into them not just any longer just being friends. So to say, being friends, but being something more.
Okay, so you're talking about episode 7. All right, when it's revealed. Oh, hold up, I wrote that down.
Wait, I think that was 6. That was 6.
It was 6. It was 6. So they had a slumber party or some shit.
Yeah.
So that was
which is
6.
normal, by the way. That's what women do when they hang out with each other. They don't always start licking each other. Okay, it's.
Do you say
no? I'm saying the way she was talking, not necessarily what they were doing, but the way that she was talking in the conversation about
it. Right. I got you, Jamani. I'm just
Jamani. So you like the main story arc of Cruz's undercover mission to get to Aaliyah's dad because he finances terrorist operations around the world. That's what we're getting into right now.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily like the fact that Cruz's Achilles heel was having to feel emotion. Like I'm like, could it have been anything else? Like her weakness, so to say, to the mission, been anything else? like you look at somebody like Scarface, no women, no children. Like, could it have been anything else other than I don't want to feel emotion. I'm like, and she's trying to prove that she's not the typical woman like in the first couple episodes, right? You know, yeah, she's just as tough as a man and all this type of stuff. And then when it comes down to it, she's my weakness is I can't, you know, lead her on or feel emotion and be detached.
Yep.
Well, she wasn't trained for this stuff. But go, let's get to it. So, Kim, what do you think of Cruz's and Joe's mission to kill Leah's father, so on and so forth? What do you think?
I feel like in real life it would have taken much longer, of course, like months and months and months, right? But they actually got this wedding, which was like, if your dad's gonna be there, this is where we need to be, right? So I thought that was pretty cool. But I like what Jamani said when Cruz was like, you know, I'm as tough as a man, I can do all these things, and you know, I can take it. Go ahead, beat me up. But the thing is that women are emotional, right? So it takes a lot for a woman, whether she's in the military or not, to shut down those emotions, right? There are some women who are excellent at it. They will stay stern in your face. Even Joe, right? Joe is the leader of this whole thing, but we saw her cry. We saw her get upset numerous times, right? She didn't do it in front of her crew, but she's emotional. That's just what we were. That's how God made us. We're just that way, right? So Cruz, in the beginning, trying to prove herself, it just basically, for me, to me, it brought it back to the fact that women, it's hard for women to shut their emotions off. It just is, and she proved that. She basically fell in love with, I think her name's Aaliyah.
Aaliyah.
Yeah. Well, she fell in love with her, and it may have been fast, but you never know how long it's going to take you to fall in love with someone, right? And so I would say let me not say in love. I would say she caught feelings for her, right? So there's emotions there for her, right? And so that's what made it harder for her to do it. But when it was at the end of the day, she did what she was supposed to do, right? She took the dad out. She really took him out very brutally. Like she did her job. And then but when she came on this, I know we're not in this part, but when she got rescued and she tried to beat the shit out of Joe, I was like, sister girl, I understand your frustration, but what we're not gonna do is beat the shit out of our boss. Okay? That's just not what we're gonna do. Because if that was normal practice, we'd all be beating the shit out of our boss. Correct?
Yes.
So, but that part, I got her frustration. I did. But that's your job, Cruz. That is your job. You did your job. Move on. You can hate her all you want to in your mind. But at the end of the day, Joe is your boss. So now are you going to be sent to the brink because you beat up an officer? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, wow. Why would you do that? You know what I mean? So her emotions came out. So she proved basically to all the men, you can't handle it. Everything that you tried to prove, she did this, right? That was her emotions. And so now she proved to all the men that are around, oh, you can't handle it. Because the emotion that came out with you. To me.
So I thought, all right, because we're gonna talk about this mission, then we're gonna talk about Kyle's mission.
Okay.
And for this mission, it was pretty standard, in the sense of like you got to kill the villain, right? I just felt it would have been better if we knew who the villain was up front. Like I spent most of this episode not understanding what Cruz was trying to do, like who Joe was trying to get Cruz to. I thought it was the fiance, then I thought it was like an uncle or something, and like we didn't see the target until the final episode when he popped up in the kitchen with barely any clothes on and he gets murdered.
Well, so, no, didn't they said in the meeting? I thought the meeting with Morgan Freeman and all the head people, right? In episode 6, they said it was her father. But we didn't see him until this episode.
That's what I'm saying. I just usually they show you said villain, like so you know who you're tracking. Like you can.
I think that was done purposefully. He's that elusive that you're not going to see him until the asset sees him, because He's just not on the board until he is. One of my favorite scenes in the whole series is in the last episode when she's going when Cruz is going into the
Kitchen?
fortress or whatever have you,
Oh.
and Morgan Freeman is looking at it and he's like, all of that is security? Yeah. Ain't no way she's killing him with all that fucking security. Call the mission off.
Well, there was a lot of security. I mean, honestly, that it was like Fort Knox. I was like, why? There's a ton of security around. I mean, this girl is about what, 110 pounds wet. So I was kind of like Morgan Freeman. I was like, they're gonna kill her. I just knew. Somehow I felt like Aaliyah was gonna turn on her, right? And tell her husband what I feel like something's going on with her. Or Aaliyah was able to look on the internet and find out who she really was, something like that. But no.
But the husband, running her picture and then Google searching and then finding social media. I'm like, how does you become a CIA asset and them not wipe your digital footprint?
Yeah, what happened to that? That you're right, Jamani, because I was thinking the only way to find this person would be the dark web, right? Shouldn't that be the only way to find them is the dark web?
They were looking through like the database to match her up with something, right?
Yeah, and they couldn't find it, but he finally found it.
And Google searched it, and I'm like, no, you shouldn't be able to just stumble on her like that. She should, yeah.
Right. You're right.
My point is, like, even she didn't see a picture of the target at all. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, she didn't even know who she shouldn't even know what she was trying to kill. Like it was a bad setup. Like it was a bad, like for me, like if she was like, this is the person, we got it. Why is this person relevant? Why is this person a threat to the US? Like every other story like this, you get all that. Like you understand like who you're going after. So we're more invested into this thing to me. Because I'm following and she's going from party to party, and I'm like, what the fuck are we trying to do here? Like
I'm assuming that off camera, but it would have been good for them to show it on camera if there was a picture of Aaliyah and her father together, and that's when she's like, okay, this is the target.
That's it. Yeah, it should have been something.
The video montage she's watching as they're flying to Spain in episode 7 should have been in episode 2. Like this is who you're killing. This is why you're trying to kill them, and we understand why she's trying to kill them, so we can keep that in the back.
She wasn't ready. She was nowhere near killing him yet. She's ready to back out of the mission, and this is just being used to get her head back into the game.
So her head was never in the game. If she could have ran across this dude in Kuwait when they were shopping, and she had no clue. Like I'm like, one, she's not even trained for this. Like let's get to the basic shit of like they took a Marine killer, got it, with no language experience, no spy experience, there's no reason for her, and then they didn't give her any of this. Like we watched first 2 episodes, they put her through more torture training, which never helped her with anything at all, ever. Mm-hmm. Yep. And even that punch that she did at the end of the episode when she got rescued, she should have knocked Joe out when she got done almost being raped. Like when she got out of that room, she should have knocked her the fuck out then and be like, you don't do this to me. Like this is way, way late. Like you said, you rescued me, thank you, but you put me through this shit, and like that didn't go anywhere. I was like, the mission out, and then it was cool the way they killed her. That was awesome.
I think that is the ironic thing about it, because she said when she got out of the room, send the missile or the drone strike to blow everything up, right? Instead of letting me go through that. But now that she's emotionally invested, as I said, that being her Achilles heel, that's when she wants to come and hit Joe after that.
So then we don't even get that's why, because Aaliyah, because she fell in love with and this is common. This is, woman or not, you see these shows where the man goes undercover, he falls in love with the target's wife or girlfriend or some shit. Yeah. And so this it's not that like unheard of. So I got that part, and that was the only thing that made sense. because I was screaming around episode 5. I'm like, Aaliyah better be gay because she's doing too much for Cruz. Like, let me see you. What are you wearing? Where are you? You gotta be here. I'm like, she better be gay. Like, she
but
better
even
be.
that is upset. But even that was obsessive behavior, wasn't it?
It
In my
was.
opinion, I was like, this. If it was a guy, you'd be like, oh my God, he's stalking you. Like, what the fuck is back up? Like,
Calm your ass.
yes,
But I was like, let this lead somewhere. Let this be something. And then so when I
yeah,
saw them, let's have a slumber party, just us two. I'm like, all right, they're gonna be fucking. Okay,
yeah, yeah,
okay, I get
yeah.
it. I was like,
I
come
mean,
on,
that part was obvious, but it was. When I'm thinking about what you're saying, it should any other show that I've ever seen where they deal with terrorists, shouldn't the person who's going in know how to speak the language at least?
yes,
That didn't make
yes.
any sense. And you know what? I didn't really think
Wait,
about
but
what
she
you just
did
said.
know how to speak the language, because what happened when the husband was
And
saying, the fiance was saying, yeah, if we
And-
kick her out, then she'll have
her legs will
closed
stay
legs.
closed.
And then she
And-
said,
And that's
mentioned something about
that's
that.
bullshit. That's bullshit.
But
Because
she
throughout
didn't.
the
She
entire
doesn't understand the language. She
Arabic.
doesn't. She did
Throughout
not.
the whole series, she was like, "What did he say? What did she say?" Then all of a
Yes.
sudden, she learned Arabic. Like that, she did not have any language ability. She had no spy ability. Like none of that. So she was not right for this. Yes, Kim. Yes, Kim. Usually they go to the farm and find the case officer with the language experience or the cultural experience or something, and then now you're in this, but she's learning this shit on the fly. Like it doesn't make once they figured out
that doesn't make any sense, because that you not knowing the language could mean your life.
Yes.
Like they could be saying, we need to hang her. We need to chop her head off or something. Not to be stereotypical, but I'm just saying, anything. They could be saying anything. It's just like when you go into Mexico.
I think that's why they tried to rewrite it and have her be able to be fluent in the end.
Maybe at some point Taylor said this doesn't make a lot of sense, so I'm gonna let her learn this word. I'm like, stop it. Like, it's too late now, because you already established that she knows nothing about nothing, but you still put her in this. And then once they figured out that the wedding was happening, that's the moment. Then you come up with a plan. If you see him, you stab him. We work on something, but it's like no plan whatsoever. And then I was just like, this doesn't make any damn sense, Taylor. Like
we will use the environment.
Like what? And then what's her training?
That makes sense, though. That makes sense because she's a Marine.
It makes sense, but she's not trained to use the environment.
But again, that's a different type of training, though. And then you take her through that training. Like if you have to use a clothespin, if you have to use and then we can see that right now. Like, okay, so not this. Anyway, like I was like, you're doing too much. You're doing too much. But anyway, so the mission I felt like this thing should have been based on was Kyle's mission. Much more relevant. Terrorists are funneling themselves through Mexico to get to America to launch some kind of terrorist attack at a public event. I'm like, that's the story. Like, and I'm like, and I'm focused on that. Even half the trailer for this series was Kyle's operation. I'm like, that's where the excitement should have been. And it could have been Cruz. It could have been Cruz and Joe. Like, you don't need Kyle, but I'm like, the mission should have been it. That should have been it, and that's something I would have been more invested in. Like, we're trying to stop.
But Kyle's mission wasn't that well planned, though. In my opinion, like there was a lot of cameras, a lot of stuff being seen. That if it was a better planned out mission, CBS wouldn't have had footage. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, he did mess up that part of it.
Well, no, I'm not saying he didn't. I'm saying if this would have started in Mexico. Right, we build up to this, right? Like we find the terrorist crew. Cruz is picked because she has language ability or whatever. She's done undercover narcotics work or something, and she's put into this cartel that's facilitating the terrorists, right? And we work through that. Cruz is the one that gets picked up by the federales, and they have to bust her out of the federales. Like, that makes sense, not U.S. Border Patrol.
Did either one of you understand why they picked her? Because I didn't get it. I was like, she's been beaten down by men her entire life, right? Like, she was in an abusive relationship, and we realized that she was abused in her own family, right? And then which is normal, you go and get in an abusive relationship with a man also. So I was like, what about her made Joe say that's her?
I think it was the first episode when I don't think it was necessarily she was supposed to be the like the way that the mission was set up was that it's this wedding, and the way that the place is fortified, she has to be the one to do it. It was a matter of she's supposed to, so to say, just let them know when he's there, and they're going to send in a team, or either they're gonna, send in a missile and then just level everything. She's not necessarily supposed to be the person who's executing the target. I think that was something that happened in the last, in the last moments. But it was a matter of she needs to be able to withstand scrutiny, torture, interrogation based on what happened with the last asset that we saw at the beginning.
Right. I understand that part, but what I'm saying is like, normally there's something about you that stands out to leaders, and they say we're picking you because
I'm saying that the ability to withstand torture and interrogation. That's
ridiculous though.
Yeah,
like she doesn't know the language. She doesn't have any skills in like maneuvering around someone so that they don't know that she's actually working for the Marines, right? She doesn't have the language, right? Yeah. She doesn't have the training to be what they made her be. Torturing someone and her getting through the training doesn't mean that she has the language to actually be a spy. Like,
I think that was Joe's PTSD from the situation of having to, say, just, send a missile in and kill everybody and including the asset, and then she just overcorrected in choosing the next person. It wasn't. I think it was meant to show that Joe is forgetting about what she necessarily needs to do and is just overcorrecting, in a moment of trauma or whatever.
Okay.
I feel like that should have been a question of like her leadership. Like why her? Like the questions we're answering, a supervisor would have said. What?
I think Nicole Kidman's character was asking her those type of questions, like why her, and she was saying, she was bringing up the military record and all this type of stuff, and she'll be able to withstand this stuff. And she was like, well, you better be sure. And then that's when she put her into the they picked her up in
torture training. Yeah. But I think Nicole Kidman, she was right for asking her those questions because she's Joe's boss, right? And then Nicole has a boss, right? Which we saw him, right? And then that boss has a boss. But the thing is that I understand why those big bosses were kind of like, she's not the one. Like, you need to shut, you know what I'm saying? Like, you need to shut this down because she's not the one, right?
She's not the one because the mission sort of changed at the last moment. Like, we'll never get this opportunity again, and we want the opportunity. And it was a matter of.
Well, the mission was jacked up too, because when Morgan Freeman was like, all upset at the end about the fact that it went through. Oh, well, now the American people are going to have to pay all this money and blah, 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 whatever he said, right? I was with the other guy. Why would you put him on a kill list if you didn't want him killed?
Yeah.
That was stupid. That was dumb. Don't put him on the kill list. Have him on a list where we just bring him in. Like Cruz, now Cruz wouldn't have been able to bring that man in. Absolutely not. We know that. So at the last minute, now you want to blame, which is what government does a lot. They want to blame it now on their workers rather than on themselves, right? That this was a bad idea. No, you shouldn't have had them on a kill list. You don't put someone on the kill list, they don't get killed, right? So
I feel like Taylor needs to stick to Westerns. Like it just, I felt like it was a lot of things. Because one, Morgan Freeman to this conversation. Morgan Freeman went from we need complete control of this mission at the White House level to oh, we don't want this to happen. Why are you doing this? Like, you control this. This stop it. Oh, we can't contact her. Yes, you can, because you put 2 communicators on her to make sure you can contact her. So what are we doing? And then Joe was like, oh, we're just gonna launch a missile and kill her. But she can't launch it. Yeah, we're gonna launch it on her. Like she ain't coming back. Like, she already claimed that this is a death mission. So I'm like, what happened to that? This should have been a movie. Like, what the Cruz story should have been a movie and be done with. This is not 8 episodes. I think
that's Paramount though. I think that is all streaming platforms services nowadays, right? They always stretch it. They want the series because they want people to stream it, right? And for some reason, like when British people have their shows, there's 4 episodes. They hit every point they need to hit within 4 episodes. For us, we got to stretch it out for 4 more, right? To get to the point, which doesn't make any sense. Because if British people can get the point across, get character development, get the storyline going, right? That where it makes sense, and then give us an ending, then Americans should be able to do that too, right? I mean, because I tell you, I've been watching a lot of South African. They got it just like the British. They get the characters, they get the storyline, they get it going, they got a middle and an end. It's done. And they can do theirs too, like maybe 6 episodes sometimes. And even when they stretch it, it still gives you more information where you're like, oh, okay, well, let me see the next one. Oh, wait a minute, let me see you know what I mean? Like, it's so I feel like Taylor, I feel like Westerns are his thing, and maybe this is not.
I gotta disagree. I think this is his best. I think this is what he's doing with Apple Plus. This is better than his stuff at Paramount by far. I'm like, there's certain improprieties that you could bring up with the series, but I think overall, I think it was a solid show. It didn't have as many plot holes as we bring up in a typical Yellowstone season. I'm like, I guess like the biggest plot hole for me, would probably have been the whole transmitter that she had when she was in the hotel room, and she's like clicking it on and off. And I'm like, there's no way that you'd be able to click the thing on and off. It's just on, like how when she went to the wedding, it's on or it's off. If you're able to click it on and off, somebody's going to be able to see it or notice it. You're going to get caught.
And it should have been scrambled. If you really think about it, whatever signal it was getting in that building with all that security, that should have been scrambled. There should be no way that signal even got out, right?
Yeah. Jemani, I would challenge you on plot holes or stuff that don't make no damn sense. So again, we saw the fact that she was a cold-hearted fighter in episode 1. You go through torture training again in episode 2. Yep. Then we spend next 5 episodes of her going to a beach party, a house party, a club where she gets, almost date raped, right? Like she gets roofied and she has a QRF team following her.
Yep.
She's still in America. Well, her poor self gets almost raped. And then it takes Joe to come out there, not her, to save her, right? I'm like, what happened to all this training? Then they take the guy's DNA. And I'm like, what the fuck are you going to do with that? Like, I thought they're going to leak that to the cops and he's going to be like a social media post or something. Like that went nowhere.
No, that was a prevented. Like that's, if they said, forget anything happened, you never saw anybody, they are using the DNA in case.
To what?
You can put it in the database. Like if he ever does to someone else again, because his DNA is in the database and they can.
Well, I don't know about. I don't think they're putting him in a database because there's nothing to put him in the database. You have to have a reason to put someone in the database, and this
he roofied her.
Huh?
So, he tried to date rape her.
He's off books. I'm saying, so the CIA is going to know he committed a crime, right? And then what are they gonna then do? They're not they're not supposed to have the DNA to begin with. So they're just gonna, okay, we know that you committed a crime again.
No,
They're not gonna put them in a database. What they're doing is we have your DNA, right? Now, if you say that you saw us, or if you try to bring up the situation, publicize it, anything like that, we will use your DNA to put it involved with something else, so that no one will believe you with this, because you'll be in so much hot water with some other crime we've pinned on you.
That's Jamon, that don't make any damn sense. Like,
No,
if he date raped this woman, she is not his first victim.
Yeah,
like,
he's been date raping people.
Come on, man. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, CIA can talk to informants and get this to. I thought it was going to go somewhere. I thought he was going to get arrested. Like, we're going to see it, or they kill him. You know what I'm saying? Or they get him arrested. Same thing that happens when you're in a safe house, right? You got surveillance. Like, you're wondering if the target is targeting you. People break into your safe house and you do nothing but scare them and lead them out the house. Like, why are you there? How did you find us? Like, they did not interrogate said housebreakers. Like, you don't know.
We paid them off.
You murder them. Like, I'm sorry. Then you take their DNA. For the fuck what? Like, you take them somewhere and you torture them somewhere. You put them through the Sears training and be like, they wake up in the middle of Panama and they don't know how they got there. But like, you find out, you make for sure that no one sent them after you. Like, that's what that should have turned into. Like, but that just went nowhere.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
flat. But also too, that also showed that Cruz was not ready for this mission, because why were you're supposed to be flirting with what's her name? Aaliyah. Why are you flirting with a dude? Like, sweetheart, you're at work here, okay? You're not supposed to be having fun. That right there, they should have pulled her out. No, I'm sorry. They should have pulled her and said, wait a minute. Okay, Cruz, what are you doing? You needed to, what? Because you feeling the emotions for this woman, you needed to like flirt with a dude to make sure that you're, it's not gay. Like, what are you doing?
Okay, so at that particular time in the story, right? She's with other girls who are just going out there having a good time. So the whole them falling in love was not necessarily a storyline at this point. So
yeah, but the girls were still none of the girls had men around them, right? They were all girls hanging out with each other. And then she goes to get a drink, and then all of a sudden she's like flirting with the dude. I'm like, no. You are at work, sweetheart. Go back to the girls and do your job.
Whatever.
So why didn't they should have pulled her out for just that?
No, I think it made sense, because the episode prior, the guy was trying to
almost rape
push
her
up on her or whatever.
again.
And I think her getting with a guy would have prevented that from reoccurring, so to say. Like, if she is spoken for, I don't think the guy would have, tried to
he got sent away. I'm just saying, it just seemed we just wasted a lot of time with this kind of stuff when we could have had some action stuff going on. Like, that's what I'm saying. It was a lot of parties and just hanging out and girl talk or some shit, and then all the action was in like the last episode. But as it relates to Cruz's mission, like all that stuff was just in the last episode. So I'm like, all this partying was unnecessary and didn't really result into anything substantive to me, like for the story. And then so I like, it was interesting. So you got, again, Cruz, no training, we talked about, right? No training whatsoever, building her cover as she goes along. No one checks on this. Not her fiance, no one in the security team, no one just says, what school do you go to again? Like, just some basic shit. And then she gets invited to the wedding, like, no problem. And then what happens afterwards? Aaliyah is the love of Cruz's life or whatever, or at least that's right. What I thought she was going to be on the beach when she's like trying to escape. And now Aaliyah knows that Cruz killed her dad and her fiance. And like, does she try to take her with her? I tried to find her later. Because to me, Aaliyah's dead.
Aaliyah's dead for sure. For sure. Because he brought her into the compound.
That's
they're going to kill her.
So I'm like, we should see that. I mean, unfortunately, we should see.
Well, if they get a season 2, you will see it.
I'm like, that should have been the end of this episode, because to me they're done. Like Cruz quit or whatever. So if there is a season 2, like Joe's gonna recruit somebody else, some other lioness, they're gonna start all over again. But does she get a happy ending with Aaliyah? Is Aaliyah unfortunately dead? Like none of this gets wrapped up to me. Like where I don't need to see Nicole Kidman and her stupid ass husband. I need to see Aaliyah and what's going on with her and Cruz. That's why I need to see. Because like
Right.
and does she? Maybe she got killed. Maybe she got killed trying to help Cruz as Cruz is trying to escape. Like something. But that's what I wanted out of that.
Yeah, you wanted a wrap up, which is normal.
Yeah, just something, Taylor.
Yeah.
Also, this again, the San Antonio mission. I was like, again, Taylor, you need to watch more spy movies, because you got a whole convoy of trucks and lights for a secret undercover mission to kill some terrorists, and you want me to believe the entire neighborhood does not come out to see all these cops coming down their street? No one sees shit. Then they're like, Russia might come here and recruit the cops to reveal what happened. What are they going to report? CIA killed terrorists and stopped them from blowing up something in America? That's a win. Like, I'm not sure what the problem is here, Taylor. I'm like, this doesn't make
all
any
of
sense.
those cops on that street would have woken up the entire street. They rolled in quiet, right? Rolled in quiet. But somebody, no matter what, is up watching TV.
Yes.
Somebody's outside smoking weed.
Yes.
Someone's outside drinking. You know what I'm saying? Like someone, not everybody sleeps at like 3 a.m.
No.
Some people are awake, right?
Yes.
So that whole thing, I was like, no, there's no way that somebody is not like, what's going on out here? You said there's always somebody. Well, what's happening?
What's happening?
I was like, no. Mm-mm.
And we don't even know who's the person they saved from the Border Patrol. And that was completely ridiculous, really. And what happened to that person? Because if I'm working for the cartel, right, and my person got caught by the Border Patrol, and that's the one that's facilitating these terrorists, we're done with that operation. Like whatever you were supposed to go, you're moving somewhere else, because we have to assume said person flipped or whatever, right? But somehow that's completely okay. But we never get back to that.
Well, they said he brings in $5 million a week, and we don't want to let go of that.
Who?
Well, the asset, you're talking about the father, right? You're talking about the father brings in $5 million. Or are you talking about the terrorist?
I'm talking about the terrorist.
Okay.
Wait a minute, okay. I'm talking about in San Antonio. So the person that they broke out of Border Patrol, right? Kyle's guy.
Yeah, when Kyle was being sat down, with what do you call it?
Morgan Freeman and crew.
Yeah, all of them in the room, and they're talking about, and they're like, he's saying that he brings in $5 million a week. Who's gonna let that go when we can use that for all of these different other missions and stuff?
So anyway, then the person should have been seen or addressed, or what happened to said person. Like he gets busted out, and then when Kyle is standing there triumphant to be like, "Hey, you don't have any evidence that we did anything. We got you on video camera." That's how we started this conversation. Like we had evidence that you're doing ops on American soil. When again, you don't think CIA should be able to contact the FBI and be like, you got somebody in custody that we need, and that's the end of that conversation. Like you don't need to like take down a Border Patrol like car. It looked cool, but didn't make a lot of sense. And Kyle looked a lot like Casey. Like when I looked at Kyle,
doesn't he? Yeah, he
I
did.
was like,
yeah, he looked like Casey.
Taylor has a type.
Well, Neil is Lee, right? Neil is actually Lee.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. That's him. Yes, Neil is Lee.
I didn't know.
The older son. Yeah.
We don't saw him for like an episode, but that's true. I mean, but Two Cups is his go-to dude in like in every one of his shows.
The one that's what he was I can't remember his name though. I know you're talking about, but he was also in that other show we watched with Jeremy Renner.
Yeah. Damn. Mayor of Kingstown.
Yeah. He was in that.
He's the go-to dude. And then the black dude, he was also in 1883.
He was, yeah.
So I'm like, Taylor has his crew. Anyway, I'm sorry. Taylor has his crew. But when I saw Kyle, I was like, Casey was busy. And he was like, you know what? I'm gonna get somebody that's kind of look like you. Don't worry about it. But I feel like that's in his heart, he wanted Casey to be in this role. And that would have made sense. Casey and the fucking livestock agents, they could have went in, killed the terrorist, and been done with it. John would have flown on the helicopter, dropped them off, and then picked them back up. And I would have been like, this makes sense. This makes all kinds of sense. But anyway, yeah, this should have been a movie. If they would have focused just on Cruz and Joe mission, kill Daddy, movie. Also, and I see nothing for part 2. I saw nothing for a season 2.
I don't think we should have a season 2. I think that they should just let it go. Just let it go. Let's move on.
Season 2 is the Mexico. They said, these terrorists from the Middle East, they're using Mexico, the cartels and the coyotes to bring stuff in. So that's what season 2 is going to be.
Now, I would agree with you, but that was episode 3 or 4 that Nicole Kidman said that, and that they never brought that back. Like if she would have said that in episode 8, I would believe you. And like maybe Kyle was going to be the lead. They're going to get back. And why didn't he have a quick reaction force? Like that don't make any sense. Like why is it that, to me, if Joe has one and they're in America, Kyle's operating in Mexico. Like where's his team? But I mean, I would like for it to be. If there's a season 2, Jamani, they should have did a better job of laying out it's going to be the Mexico front. That's all I'm saying. But I didn't see that. I mean, I saw an ending. I wouldn't say a happy ending, but just an ending of credits. But so you saying that season 2 Mexico? That's you.
Yeah, I think that Joe is going to have a lot more power within the agency, but a lot more hatred from politics, like like Morgan Freeman, Secretary of State. Like they're gonna hate her for what she did in episode 8.
Yeah, well, she said she wanted a desk job. So yeah,
because they were offering her station chief somewhere in Europe or something like that. I think maybe she might start off as like a station chief or something in Mexico, and something happens where she has to assume both positions. She has to be like, so to say, station chief and run, a cruise, so to say.
Well, I'm sure Cruz is gone. I mean, they'll get another Lioness. I can't see her coming back. I mean, unless somehow she has to go save Aaliyah, and again, that's not eight episodes. But
I'm like, if it's Cruz now, it being Mexico, now she'd be more suited for that.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, not to that's somewhat.
I think she would blame.
But I'm assuming she can speak Spanish. I'm saying like that would have made a better series again. If Cruz going to Mexico, undercover stuff, like that would have made more sense. Like then as opposed to her working with Arabs. Like I mean, it just and no training to do with it. I mean, I think that would have made a much more realistic mission. Also, said father should have been the one who financed the ISIS people that Joe killed in the first episode, and the one who and financed the terrorist group that they killed in episode 5. Like that would have made him relevant. Like he was responsible for those 2 things that we actually saw, and like they just happen to be random.
What would have been funny is if the thing that the strike that they sent to kill in the episode 1 was like the last thing that you see on the 8-hour video, and it's like, well, America sent that over, and they're like, well, we're blaming him for it because he made us do it.
That would be good. I know you actually did that, but or if Cruz would have known the woman who died in that strike, that would have been good. Why am I joining? You killed my friend Marine so-and-so or Army so-and-so, Special Ops so-and-so. Like she's the one, she didn't come back. Like that would have been interesting to kind of tie those two storylines together. That would have been nice.
Yeah, but that's part of the job, right? I mean, Cruz, you can die. So your friend dying is part of their job.
You still care. And then like she died doing what? Like why would I want
to avenge them, so to say?
Yeah, I'm saying like, why would I want to work with you? You killed my friend, like something like that. It just because that story just kind of got left behind. Like they just kind of moved on. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, let's wrap it up. Kim, anything else for Lioness?
Nope.
All right. We're gonna do Rabbit Hole. Have you started watching Rabbit Hole with Keith Sutherland? Also Paramount Plus.
Okay. When are we doing that? This weekend?
Yeah. This weekend.
The whole season?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's all there. Interesting mystery on top of a mystery. Very interesting. So we'll be doing that. Well, in that case, I will say thank you very much for your time, and I will see you next week.
Okay.
Jamani, any final words, sir?
If there is a season 2, I want my money's worth on some Morgan Freeman. Like I felt very shortchanged. We got what 2 episodes, he's on the poster.
Yeah, it's the bait and switch.
Yeah, yeah. He needs to have more relevancy, or people need to get in more trouble to have to be, so to say, sent to his office or something.
I hear you, man. I hear you, and he needs a better agent because I mean, damn. I've been impressed with these last 2 roles. But
I'm like, everything with Joe's family, I'm like, I don't know. Like, we've had the action, now it's like you've gone up the roller coaster. Now it's like, I don't think there's gonna be anything else to go up to again. I think we're just gonna go down next season. So they need to really play the background. Like, I really don't care about Kate rehabbing and, the applause from her learning how to walk and being able to walk again. Like, that stuff can happen off camera.
I agree. Or again, they need to be kidnapped, somehow involved into the main mission. Like, sometimes they get swept up in that. But I hear you. If it's just
maybe our physical therapist is like a counter operative or something, and yeah, I'll drive her home after therapy, and then she's in a 0 dark 30 site or something. Like, yeah, we have your daughter.
That's good. I mean, that's good. First, let's see this thing gets renewed, and then we can we can do a predictions video.
Okay.
Oh, we'll do that. All right, Johnny. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, man. Thank you very much. Everyone, thank you very much for hanging out with us this weekend. And we will see you on Saturday for various things. At least we're going to do the Shy and Force, aka White Boy. I don't think All the Queen's Men is coming back, but we will see. We got Rabbit Hole, as we just discussed on Paramount Plus, so we will be doing that. And maybe the Equalizer. I may wait till the weekend to do the Equalizer, so we might do that and see what's going on. But anyway, have a great weekend, and we'll see you